Greetings, brethren, and welcome back to the How to Get Better at Chess Puzzles series, where I, the Chess Crusader, will be doing puzzles on chess.com and explaining to you what you should be looking for, what you should be thinking about, and how to get better at chess puzzles. This will help you increase your chess puzzle ELO, and which will, in turn, increase your normal chess ELO. This is why chess puzzles are important to learn. Okay, so, in a situation like this, we have these squares covered by the king and the pawn. So, this king can't really go anywhere. So we think, okay, what do we have for checks? Well, we have this check, but then king just takes, so it doesn't do anything. We have this check, so then pawn takes back, pawn here, and then, yeah, these three squares are covered by the king. So after these checks, the king has to go here, in which case the rook can come over and block all of the squares. So that's an important idea for chess puzzles, is thinking, okay, what squares does the king have right now? Right now, like, the king can't move to any of these squares because of the king blocking it. So if we force the issue with the check, then he has to take back or run over here. He can take back or he can run down, but then the rook can still come in here and deliver a checkmate. So with this move right here, and then finally here, because all of these squares are covered and now the king can't do anything. So moving on to our next puzzle here. Okay, so white to move looks a little dicey because he's got a queen, but how are we going to do anything here? Well, sometimes you're not even looking for checkmates. Sometimes you're just looking for the best move in the position. And yeah, clearly in this position, he just hung his queen, right? Like, because our bishop just sees all this. He's trying to get our pawn, but if we take this queen, now we're just winning, right? So sometimes there's not always a checkmating idea. Sometimes it's just okay, how can I get into a better position here? Alright, so for this move, white to play, some ideas. Is there a checkmate? I'm not entirely sure that there's a checkmate. There could be. But some ideas, it's like, okay, this queen is trapped. Can we do anything about that? Like, are there any ideas that trap it? No, not really, because we can try to threaten it with this bishop or push this pawn forward, but the queen can always escape. Okay, so the queen is here, but it's really a non-factor. So what are we thinking about? We're thinking about checks, captures, and attacks. So we'll start with checks. Does this knight move do anything? No, not really, because you just get taken two separate ways. Here, same thing. But what about this check from this bishop? Okay, so this check here forces this king to move to one of these two squares because this rook covers this entire line, and the queen can't get back to cover it. So bishop goes here, the king has to go back to one of those lines, and then we can see that this rook can deliver checkmate on the back rank here. And just like that. And even if this wasn't checkmate, then you're winning this bishop or something, right? So, but yeah, so that is good. So our next move here, kind of same scenario, where we have, a rook, queen, queen, and he's up a couple pawns, so we're in a losing position here, but that's only if we can find, if we can't find the right moves. So let's think checks. So here, well, we just kind of hang the rook, so that doesn't really do anything. We have this move here, which forces the king to, like, if we go here and deliver this check, nothing can block except for, nothing can block. So if the queen moves here, these squares are all taken away, so the king has to move to one of these two squares, and if he moves here, then we can just go there with the queen next, so then it'll force him back into a position over here, and then we can try to deliver like a back rank mate there. That's big ideas for when their king is kind of stuck. So we'll go here, and yeah, so he doesn't even go up here because, well, I guess this would have been mate as well because the queen would have had to cover, but it still would have been mate. So now we get to do a cool thing and sack the queen there for the chess puzzle to get mate. So now let's try another one here. So black to move. I'm going for the king here. Obviously, this is a pretty good idea. So I don't have to think too hard about this one. It's kind of scary around our king, but you see a battery here. You think, okay, what can we do with this battery? Well, we can go here, and then that just takes away every single square for the king. So that was a pretty simple one. You just got to see, okay, what is lined up in the position, what is good, and that was good. Okay, so same idea here. We can think, where can this king go? Well, he can only go to these two squares, so those two squares are pretty weak. If we take here with this bishop, we're looking at checks now. Then he just takes back with the knight, and it's not really super big deal. But if we take with this knight instead, this check, this knight will then cover both of these squares, so the king has to move to like one of these two squares, right? So then if the king has to like go here, then we have a discovered attack with the queen because the queen is also open on this file. But then we might also have ideas with this bishop. So you don't have to see like the end all be all. You don't have to see, okay, where do I deliver mate? You don't have to see that right away. You can just, because it's hard to think about ideas in your head. So you can be like, well, this is just crushing because the king has to go out somewhere, so we'll just go here. And yeah, see, now he doesn't even run the king out because we could have done many things like taken this bishop with check and then taken like another one, something like that. But now we just get his queen there, my opponent's queen. So what about this now? Okay, another thing. What do we have lined up? Well, we got these rooks lined up. They're going this way. Pretty standard one. Rook covers this square, and if the queen goes there, everything is covered. So that's just mate, right? Good idea, good idea. Okay, and this idea, white to move. So king over here, we can think, all right, well, we have our knight here, and we have the queen lined up once again. So what ideas do we have? What do we got for checks? Well, nothing really with the knight, so let's try with the queen. Here, a check, and then the king has to go into the corner. And then it looks like we can just take this rook. And that looks like mate. Not quite, actually, because the knight can go back. But I feel like we're just crushing with either like this rook move to force some progress or something like that. So, yeah, we can just start with this. Then we can take, like, I don't think there's anything better because there's no checks. Well, no checks with the knight. So I think we're just supposed to take the rook here. Oh, actually, there we go. Now we have ourselves a smothered mate, actually. So that's kind of good. See, you just think of like, okay, what are forcing moves? And the ideas come as the puzzle progresses, and this will happen in a game as well. You could think, okay, what's a good move? What's a good tactic? And then stuff just usually flows from that. So you don't have to see the whole thing all the way ahead. Usually, if you get the general idea of what's happening, then you'll have a good idea there. Okay, so what is the idea in this one? So this is an endgame, a rook endgame. So things to note is that we have two pawns and they only have one. And our kings are close to this pawn. So if we are somehow able to let this pawn get by, it can queen, right? And because both kings are on this side. So an idea might be to like just play this check, because then it forces a rook trade here. Because if he doesn't take, then we take his rook. So what happens if we go here, and if he takes and takes back, and then he takes back with his king. Okay, so his king's on this square, and this pawn is on this square. So the idea is you have to be inside of this box to be able to stop a pawn from promoting. It's called being inside the square. If you watch GothamChess, he says that all the time. So his king would be in the square here, but we can actually, since it's at the beginning, since the pawn is on the second rank, we can actually push it 2 squares. And then if he moves his king again to get to there, we're on this square. And then here, we're here, 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 and then here. So we actually make it. So a little bit more forward thinking in this one. It's a little difficult to see that maybe, but at least we can simplify things into a way where you can just count, and it's all good. And of course we can stop this pawn before our pawn gets there. So we will do this check, and here we go. See, we get all the way down to the end, and the king can't do anything about that. We'll do a couple more here. We'll do a couple more puzzles. So, black to move. So, yeah, we got ideas with this knight and this queen. So, you know, this square is covered by the knight, so we can put our queen here, and then all of these squares are just covered, and it doesn't look like anything can get back. It doesn't look like the knights or anything can get back, so that's just a one mover. Just a nice little one mover there. Okay, and what about this one? Okay, so the idea of my opponent is, like, you know, obviously attacking the queen, which on its own doesn't sound like that bad of an idea, but they forgot that, what is this knight looking at? This knight's looking at both of these pieces here, So we can just check like this, and then when the king goes back into the corner, what can we do after that? Well, maybe there isn't a follow-up, but there probably is because this is a chess puzzle. So let's see. Here, the king has to go back into this square. Then, well, we have our rook on this file, so then we can probably just deliver a back rank checkmate. That's what it looks like. This rook is going up. A little hard to see up and down on the chessboard with this helmet on, but I think we got this here. And then, yeah, probably just, yeah, it's just here, takes, here, and then blocks, actually. But then we have the knight to be able to deliver that smothered mate again once everything is in here. Which is actually kind of cool because it's also a fork of the king and the queen. So a little bit of insult to injury there. So I think that's good. That is a good episode for today. We've done a lot of chess puzzles. I hope that this helped you learn how to approach chess puzzles a little bit differently. Think of, okay, what squares does the king have? How are my pieces lined up? Where are they looking? What are some forcing moves with checks? What are things that are worth looking at? Recently, I have created a Discord channel for my community, my Chess Crusader community. I do streams on TikTok. I play games against lots of people on there, and we talk. We have a great time. Also for YouTube here, if any of you guys want to join the Discord, if you want to play against me, you can join my streams on TikTok or just message me on the Discord, set up games with other people, send memes, suggest content, do whatever you'd like. And that's all. That's my shameless plug for today. Not even going to ask you to subscribe. Not even going to ask you to subscribe. Just look into the Discord. All right. Godspeed, brethren. Thank you for joining this episode.